All right, and the Toronto man's word of the day is guy. You know what I'm saying, guy? Well, go on. What's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel today, where I'll be discussing the topic of music publishing in terms of what it is and why I believe a lot of artists, both young and seasoned artists, are leaving money on the table. It's hard to believe, but it's absolutely true. But before I jump into things, what I need from you is that SLC. Hit subscribe, like, comment, and more importantly, hit the notifications bell to stay in touch with the new videos that we have up and coming. All right, so let's jump into things. What is music publishing? Well, simply put, to describe it in one brief sentence, music publishing is the business of promoting and monetizing copyright musical compositions. It's probably the simplest way that I can summarize it into words here. And it's the monetization piece that I think a lot of people are missing out on. And it's the key reason why I'm doing this video. A number of times whenever I'm signing people to my label, Purveyor Underground, or having discussions with other artists who just aren't in the know, it's amazing to me that they actively sign and release their music, license their music to a bunch of labels, and those labels, big or small, are putting their music in mixes, and then that gets blasted over to a bunch of different clubs and potentially on airwaves and streaming services now, and festivals in addition to that. And that is where they're missing out on the opportunity. Every time your music is consumed or enjoyed, there is money to be had there. And I'm going to get into some more details about that, but that's basically what music publishing is a vehicle for nowadays. All right, so point number 2 is the process. I was lucky enough early in my career to receive really great advice, which was to just get my publishing company set up and started, so that each and every time I created a song, whether I released it or not, as long as I registered it on the SOCAN website, and SOCAN is the administrative body that helps artists in Canada go out to collect on their music publishing rights. And it might look a little differently from country to country. Like, for example, the UK has PRS, and I think in America it's just either ASCAP or BMI or BMG as well. But anyway, I don't want to digress too far. The typical process is you create a song, then you register the said song on the administrative body, and now it's pretty much through online services. There's a form you fill out, and you just say, here's what the song is. I wrote and sung on it, or wrote the lyrics for it, or whatever. But basically, you just have to make sure the distribution of the rights to that particular track or song is adding up to 100, because it's quite possible you can be the person that just made the music to the song, so you'd be deemed as the composer, whereas you might have a songwriter that built all the lyrics for it, and then you might have another sub-publishing company involved representing the artist who sung on the track, and if they provided some input as far as composition or lyricism is concerned, they would need to have a percentage. But the bottom line, it all just needs to add up to 100, and then that way you always ensure you get your fair share. When it comes to underground electronic music, 99% of the time, I believe most producers are going to have their songs add up to 100%. You are both the composer and the lyricist of the track, or most times it might be 100% composer if there is no lyrics on the track or vocals on the track. Bottom line is that all of that cash, all of that opportunity can be pointed towards you as the producer. So generally, that's how the process works when it comes to the creation of songs. All right, and point number 3, I'm just going to share some typical terms that you really should point yourself towards and understanding more deeply. I will also leave a link in the description that points you towards a glossary of terms when it comes to music publishing. But the ones I'll rhyme off, just make sure you familiarize yourself with, because when it comes to underground electronic music, you'll typically run across these. So the typical ones are sync rights, then there's mechanical rights, as well as neighboring rights when it comes to music publishing. You might hear mechanical licensing as another one. And last but not least, it's a term, but it's also a very specific function that I highly, highly recommend. As your catalog grows, you get yourself into this type of deal, and it's called an admin pub deal, administrative publishing deal. And what is involved there is you can actually assign people different territories. So I literally have a guy collecting for me out in Europe, and I think he touches Australia as well. And then I have another person just handling Canada. And I think, the same guy who's doing my European stuff handles the Americas as well. But I just have a separate group just handling Canada specifically, in addition to SOCAN, which is the main administrative body where I register my work, because their tentacles can only extend so far, and it's important that you remember that. So depending on how big your catalog grows over time, you definitely want to seek some external sources and get some legal help once you get the contract to review it in depth and make sure that it's fair. Admin pub deals typically take anywhere between 10 and 20% of whatever royalties they collect. But the bottom line is that it's fattening your pot, or your denominator, so to speak. So in long story short, it's a good benefit for you for sure. And point number 4, when it comes to music publishing, if there's anything you can take away from this, is to ensure that you never, ever sell your publishing unless you are at a point where you are completely done with music and you have such an extensive catalog versus where you are in life that, you would rather just take the bag of money and just live the rest of your life doing something else. A lot of us will not be in that position, people like, I'm thinking of some names here, like Barry Gordy, for example, a former CEO of Motown. He had a publishing company called Jabet. And if you look at a lot of old Motown records, you'll see that the artist has their publishing company there, and then you'll see Jabet on pretty much every Motown release. So Barry Gordy sold his interest in that. I think he sold it to EMI for about $250 million. So we're talking about songs like Heard It Through the Grapevine and Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, all of those things. And the reason why he was able to accumulate such an extensive catalog through other artists is because the deals that those artists signed enabled him to do that. Kind of makes sense for that era, though. I'm sure the positioning of a typical Motown contract was, hey, I'm going to put out your music and take up all of the costs to, produce videos, promotion, as well as press and distribute your actual vinyl record to all of the prominent radio stations out there to make you, the artist, a success. So in turn, I need a piece of that publishing to be able to recoup. Thing is, he not only recouped, he made a huge and substantial profit. So just be careful with the types of deals you sign. Never give up complete ownership of your publishing catalog. It's just a death wish in my terms, when you look at the quality of a deal like that. So make sure you retain ownership of your publishing. And there you have it. Those are my thoughts on music publishing and why you need to get hip to it and involved if you are an electronic music producer and you're signing and creating tracks, putting out music on a regular basis, there is money to be had. It's very surprising to me that we're here in 2021 and a number of young artists who I signed to Purveyor Underground don't even have publishing set up, much less know what it is. So get that thing set up. If you do have any comments on this one, I'd love to see them. I usually join a conversation within 48 hours of posting these videos. So let me know what's up. Much love and respect to you. Peace.